I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go the Mac way. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Oppido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and... yeah, a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you've ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday night to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale at 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org, as well as our amazing new app that we've got in both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Check it out. It's super cool. It's great. It does everything you want it to do, and it plays while your phone is locked. Isn't that great? Such a cool thing. So check it out. We are stoked to be here with you tonight. Stoked to be with you here on Tuesday night at every 6 o'clock. And, we're just kind of stoked, I guess. So welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody. Return listeners, welcome to the show. New people, I've got a lot informed for you. A lot of stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of information, about hour and 45 minutes worth of information squeezed into this next hour. And we're going to get to it here in just a moment. If you say to yourself, you're at any point, wow, this guy's talking a little bit quick. I know. It's I try really work on slowing it down, and then I just go and it just goes right up. It's something I've been working on for years. But if you say, boy, I'd like to get those steps down, how can I do it? Well, you can always shoot me over an email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. But the best way to do it is to hear the show again. Jump onto our ksqd.org website, click on the listening tab under our 2-week audio archive we've got there, and you'll be able to find any of the shows that we have here, including all of our amazing jazz shows, including our news shows, or even like Democracy Now! Or Tom Hartman, or anything we've got. It'll be there in our archives for the last 2 weeks, and you can check it out at ksqd.org. And while you're there, that giant thing prompting you at the top, calling you, bringing you in, that is our donate button. Yes, come to it. Click on it often, every time you visit, please. That allows us to be here, allows me to be here. And we aren't beholden to anybody else. So the only way that we could be here is by you. And that you can do that directly right through that donate button. Make it reoccurring. Let us know what's coming in every month. It really helps us out. But most importantly, I thank you because I don't have to deal with getting some sponsorship from Amazon or something, or Apple, and all of a sudden I can't tell you some of the stuff because I'm beholden by some corporate sponsorship or something, right? Nope, not here. We're going to be talking about everything we can and about it to you that's important. So jump on ksqd.org, hit that donate button, and let us continue. We love you for it. We all love you for it. So if you'd like to reach out to me after the show, again, my email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. And of course, if you're new to all this, what is this computer man? Well, we are all about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and of course, our call-ins here at 831-900-5773 or 831-900-KSQD. See how that spells that? Pretty cool. All right. Well, we're going to get into it here. Of course, we're all about... most importantly, we're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And our phone number, 900-5773, or on air at ksqd.org. We've got it right here in our inbox. You can email me tonight if you have a question, comment, concern, and thought of anything that's going on in any of this good stuff. Hit me up, 831-900-5773, or online at ksqd, or on air at ksqd.org. Excuse me. Okay, let's start off with some scams, because they are scams awful. We still don't have a Daisy here. If you've been listening to the show for the past couple of weeks, I've been promoting Daisy that they have over the pond there, which is this amazing thing that Virgin Media did where they created an AI bot that you can forward a scam call to. You're on the phone, someone's talking to you, oh, this is an amazing opportunity, oh, you got your Microsoft virus, blah, 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 whatever they're selling to you to try to get you to give them a credit card number. And in Europe, you could just click, star 77 something something, and it'll transfer it instantly to this AI voice. And the AI voice will literally waste the scammer's time. Her name is Daisy. She's amazing. And it mimics an old British woman who speaks very slow. Oh, a dot, another dot, because it's like such a slow, painful response each time that she talks. It's amazing. It just wastes the scammer's time, because if they're scamming her, they're not scamming you or someone else. So that's really cool. We don't have anything like that yet, but we've been talking about that quite a bit. Right now, evidently, The pig butchers are out. What is that? So the latest scam that's been big, that's really been kind of the more of the fruition of sites here on the internet and all the different places like Facebook and Instagram, etc., are these pig butchering scams. And you're like, what are they? Is it animal? What is it? Is it animal stuff? You're like, no, it's not animal stuff. No, nothing like that. It's a term to think of something being fattened up for the slaughter, right? An awful thing, which is pig butchering, right? Ugh. So what it is you get involved with somebody online, and it becomes innocuous, and you just kind of talk and stuff. And they are in it for the long haul. This is an investment opportunity for them. So they will spend time and invest time in you. And then after that time that you've gotten comfortable and you're talking quite a bit and everything's going really well, then that's when they drop the, hey, I just got this amazing opportunity. Hey, I would like to invest a little bit, but I needed some more money to do it. Hey, I'm stuck here and I need a couple bucks to get over the hill. Could you maybe help me out with that? Hey, like that kind of stuff, right? It's this fatten you up, get you emotionally invested in someone, and then ask for something that might be large. And then if you do it, then they'll ask for more and more and more and more and more. And then at the very end, when it all is about to come to fruition, everything disappears. Your bank account is the bank account you guys have put together is gone. The account you've put together is gone. The investment opportunity is gone. The person is gone. The account is gone. Poof. And it just kind of disappears. So right now on Facebook, Instagram, who knows where else, they are out and waiting to get you. So two, I've seen this, a couple people, there were different instances, but at least one lovely woman who encouraged a client of mine to make a small investment in their crypto company. Okay, dude, crypto companies, right? Like if someone has a crypto company, like you could do a quick Google search. I mean, if they have investors, right? Like they have investors. You don't need to invest in a crypto company. A crypto company? What? So anyway, I'm sorry. So anyway, they said they encouraged them to make a small investment in their crypto company called Elite Cryptocurrencies, unquote. After showing huge profits, they asked me for a Coinbase account and a secret phrase so they could directly deposit earnings. Okay, now this is, again, all these scams, all these fluffy top puffy patterns that they do, right? All these things that they say all come down to like one of 5 of these scams, right? And this one is to get you to give them the 2-factor authentication code in your Coinbase account. And if you have a Coinbase account, Coinbase is where you can buy cryptocurrency. You can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the things that are out there, Dogecoin and all the stuff. But it is an intermediary to purchase using your bank account, using a credit card, using whatever your payment medium is to purchase cryptocurrency. So if they're saying, oh, I'm going to direct deposit it directly, no, that's not how cryptocurrency works. You can send an address of the crypto to the person that's sending them that. You can receive an address with crypto in it. You can then send an address out if you need to and send money out, like if you're buying a burger or buying a car or something with Bitcoin, right? But to directly deposit the earnings into a Coinbase account, right? Just weird. Okay, so this person said they had brains enough not to give them it, but I'm told more than a few folks have lost big money this way. This person also said that another person said they ended up losing a few $1,000s, but feel lucky that their brain finally clicked in and didn't lose more, because with the crypto stuff, it's gone. This is like the gift card plus, right? Because the idea with the gift card thing was that you have your money, that's the first intermediary. You then buy the money and put it onto the card, which is the second intermediary, and then you take the money off the card and transfer it to something else. So now the money's gone through 2 different steps, and the people who you originally purchased the card from, they can't do anything with it. And the card company is like, well, you already used the card. You did what you were supposed to do, so it's gone. You're like, but I didn't do it. And you're like, well, it's a scam, blah, blah, blah. So that's why those are also a big issue right now. So it's emotionally invested. It is money investment. And then what's, I mean, but that's not great about it. But what really sells these and why the pig butchering things are so big is because the amount of time that gets invested with these people, the person who's getting screwed, the victim, it's embarrassing and it's shameful and it's it's just embarrassing, and because of it, the people don't want to talk about it. They're shamed. They feel, how could I have been so stupid? How could I feel? How could I be this? How could I be that? This is just it just, and you don't want to tell anybody about it because it's so embarrassing. So it works really well for the scammers, because after you're like, oh, I don't, you're not telling somebody that you're investing thousands of dollars with some person that lives overseas that you're in love with and da-da-da-da-da, or maybe you have told them and people have been like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And you're like, shut up, we're in love, right? So, and then something happens and they were right. And so, of course, they're not going to admit you're right. It all plays in for the scammers. And with crypto, as soon as it's gone, man, it's gone. So it works perfectly. Investment in both emotions and also the stuff. And it also all happens over the computer. So watch out on Facebook, watch out on Instagram, watch your DMs, watch the things that are coming through, and just question everything, man. Like, you can have fun. You can talk to these people. I waste tons of scammers' time all the time. Do I give them any money? No. Do I give them any account access? Do I give them any things that are coming through my phone, or even give them my phone number? No, I do not. So you can have stuff fun with it and still screw with them and stuff, and even start to get invested in something. And then as soon as that dollar amount is dropped, then you just question more, right? It could be legitimate. Most likely it's not. So yeah. Also, the other thing that's kind of going out around right now is, it's kind of interesting. I've heard about it in the UK. I've heard about it in the United States. There is a dating app blackmail trick right now. And it's also coming across because of the holidays and people like traveling home and stuff and staying home for a couple of weeks and then going into these the dating apps and et cetera. So they're using these things kind of on the like, hey, I haven't been on the dating site for a while, but I'm here for 2 weeks type stuff, right? So you're on that kind of mentality with it. This person says they got hit by the dating app blackmail trick. And it's again, these things are supposed to scare you out of your rational thoughts, so you just react and do the things that they want you to do. And it comes at you in crazy ways, like crazy fight or flight ways, like that your body is going, I don't know really how to handle this. Just get rid of it, right? So matched with a girl. This is what this person wrote me. It said, matched with a girl who was either 18 or 20. Don't ask me. I don't really remember which one. It was one of those two. We were casually talking when she asked me for my number. And then she sent unsolicited photos. So just sent some photos to you. Okay, fine. Well, today at work, I get a call from Lieutenant so-and-so from the local police department. I was working, so I didn't see it until late. Called back at 5 o'clock and got nothing. Okay, so this person happened to miss the phone call from the police department, and luckily they didn't answer because they didn't leave a phone message, and the phone number that they called back didn't do anything, right? And if the police department calls you, they're going to leave a phone number you can get back to them, right? Or get somebody. And I believe the police department has someone there pretty much 24 hours, or at least an answering machine. It wouldn't just go into ether, right? So, okay. Call back at 5 o'clock, got nothing. Then I got a call from a guy claiming to be her dad and accused me of CP, of having photos I shouldn't have had. He said the only way to rectify it was if I paid the $2,500 and some change for her mental health courses so she doesn't get expelled. Okay, that's a new one, right? Like it's not like I mean that's a new one. Like you're not like you have my daughter's photos. I'm exploiting you for the money to pay for her social services to get her to get better. Yeah, that's a new one. That's a different. But so she doesn't get expelled. Okay, so I didn't reciprocate and I deleted the pictures because I didn't want them, even if she was whatever, I didn't want them. I wanted a relationship. Anyway, I called the police department, they claimed to be from, and they said he wasn't with them. But then because I calmed down, I realized the cop and the dad had the same voice. Didn't pay the money, but it scared the stuffing out of me. Yeah, I don't blame you. I work in IT, and I see scams left and right, but this one felt so real in the moment, and I was not about to have my life ruined because of some text message. I'm so glad I called the police station. Anyways, be safe. And they're also, is this a common thing? Just wanted to let you know, to let your listeners know, because I've been stressed all day. Okay, so, is that one common? That's kind of unique, especially what the money was for. That was different. But I mean, this is coming down to one of those basic scams, right? Oh, no, all this stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're going to get your freedoms taken away. Give me money. Okay, you're going to get your house taken away. Give me money. Okay, something's happening with your relatives and their freedoms are getting taken away. Give me money. Like, it's kind of all coming back to these same things. So But of course, we're doing it on the computers. We're not even talking about computers right now. This is just crazy stuff that's happening. So, so watch out. Again, this stuff could come across. You could get some unsolicited phone message, something like that. But for the most part, just keep your head and do exactly like this person did. What was the best thing that they did was they didn't answer their phone. They called the number later, and there was no one there. And then they confirmed with their police department that the person said they were from, if this person existed, and the police department said no. So end of story at that point, right? Ugh, but just what an emotional nightmare to go through. And yeah, just one of those things. So, all right, let's see if there's anything else in the scam world. The only thing else I wanted to talk about today before we get into some of the other stuff here, that actually kind of brings us into some of the meat and potatoes of the show. One of the things... Oh, actually, this is kind of scammy, kind of not. There is a website called DFlock, like a flock of seagulls or something, but DFlock, DEFLOCK. If you do a search for it, it'll come up. And a Huntsville-born software engineer, he basically mapped all of the license plate readers around the country. So there's this automated system called ALPR and ALPRs, I guess is what they're called. And it's an automated license plate reader or an automated license plate reader system. And these are placed on top of police cars. They're placed in intersections, and they will literally scan license plates as they go by, send them to local law enforcement, and also it's for tracking. So in case maybe it could be passive. I actually don't know much more about just what they're collecting, and I'm sure none of us really do know what they're collecting. But the idea is then if someone were to run through like this dude who, did the CEO in New York, and they need to start getting some data and see if they can find him. If he's in a car and they have a license plate, they can pull this system and find out if the license plate has been run through any of these systems or gone through any of the intersections. And then they can kind of get a map of where they've gone, depending on which cities he's gone through. So this guy is like, yeah, I don't really like being tracked. So this person, last name Will Freeman, actually, he wanted to show Americans how much they're being watched without their knowledge. And, you can turn off your location services on your phone. You can do a lot. You can leave your phone at home. But if you're out there driving a car, you have a license plate. That license plate can be scanned depending on what city you're in. Now, I went on here earlier, and I'm just going to bring it up. I'm going to search for DFlock online here, and there it is. Let's see if we can actually get this the website. Let's see if this might be it here. Let's see. That's a literacy toolkit. Let's see. It was a website, and it was, let me see what it was. So, but this DFlock website, which actually had a list of all the different websites. There was like, you can go into like Lincoln, and Lincoln had like 40 cameras, and Watsonville had some ridiculous amount of cameras. Where is that website though? Let me see. DFlock automated light. There is it. Nope, that's a music artist. Well, let's see if I can let's see license plates. Just do a quick search on here. Flock, is it Flock Safety? Bah, now I can't find it. So that's not really where, let's see. So anyway, so this company, but they have all the different websites, all the different cities, and they show the cities. And there's a number in California. Santa Cruz doesn't have any. Watsonville has a ton though, and they're license plate scanners, and there they are. So this guy made this website, so you can go and look. Nearly 2,000 cameras have been reported in the United States, and more than 5,500 have been reported around the world. And this is a specific license plate reader camera system. It's not the system that is on the top of the intersections that watch traffic. The 360 cameras that see when the cars are in the intersection stuff. This is something completely different, specifically for license plates. It said his eventual goal is to have the cameras removed entirely, or at least, at the very least, have some signage posted where these cameras exist. Say he thinks ideally that's, realistically that's probably not going to happen, but in certain states like California, they put laws into place that regulate this kind of thing. So one of the things that they require is holding a public meeting before the installation of such things. But a lot of the cities in California have signs in them, because you're showing people that, like, hey, we're not trying to spy on you, but this is what we're spying on you. You're letting you know that you're being watched right now. Still don't like it, but it's better. And also then they said, we also don't need the government really tracking citizens, do we? But then in 2020, I guess some senator filed a bill that said it would put limits on the use of storage data collected from the readers, et cetera, but it wasn't passed. So, and they're saying, are these license plate readers unconstitutional? So the ALCU is into it and everything. It's a big thing. But right now there's this one website, and don't know why I couldn't find it on my one search here. I just did it a couple hours ago on my. This isn't on my system, but it's a. Let's see. It's called DFlock, and it's a plate. Let me see if it's a registry. Let's try registry. We'll do one more search here. Okay, so here's this, and there's the thing, and let's see if they actually have the website, because this was the website here, and of course we get pop-ups, of course. All right, let's see. So here we go. So DFlock. There's a license plate reader. Is this the website here? License plate reader. DFlock.me. So DFlock.me. There it is. And we can put it here. And there's actually a. There you go. License plate. Okay. So there's a sign that they actually put out that you can print out that says license plate reader, and it has a point, a thing that points up. So you can go hit find nearby ALPRS, and it'll give you a map. Of what, and so if you zoom out on Santa Cruz, doesn't show much. And then if you go through over to Watsonville, let's say, and we can start seeing some of the cameras starting to pop up. Boom, there's one right there. So there's one here where there's like a hospital. So you can see stuff. It's kind of cool, kind of creepy, but at the same time also it's a great database and just another way that you can kind of look and just see what's watching you, man. Like all this technology just being used to watch everything you're doing. So the guy's saying, yeah, like put on some really good shoes and take a walk. Leave your phone at home, or if you you get a bicycle. I mean, if you're in a car, you're being tracked. If you have your phone on, you're being tracked. And then on top of that, then this whole thing happened with that gigantic hack from was Lightship Sundown. What the heck was the name of that thing? That's Daisy. Which one's this one? That's the Apple market share. I got a lot of stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of things going on in the computer world. I was trying to keep straight. Yes, here we go. So the Cyber Defense Agency said that we just had one of the worst hacks in U.S. history, that basically the Chinese can monitor all of your calls and your emails, and we can't get rid of it. There's a piece of malware that was part of a catastrophic breach that went through, including AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and basically it's so deep they can't get rid of it. The largest telecommunications hack in U.S. history by far. Have you heard about it? Nope. No, you haven't. So also it said So at first it was, I read about it. We actually talked about it maybe about 3 weeks ago. And it was, I had understand, it was just to about 100 and I think it was like 130 or 150 talking heads in Washington, right? Like senators and those people. And it was inundated onto their phones that would basically send out their text messages, send out their emails, watch phone calls, all sorts of stuff. And but they were able to intercept real-time phone conversations, like from Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, staff members of Kamala Harris. So there are more than 150 individuals as victims, but those individuals have been in contact with millions, suggesting the scale of the breach could grow dramatically. Evidently, so this... What I've understanding, I'm reading more and more of it as it comes out. This is more just to let you know there's nothing you can do. All right, there's nothing you can do. Again, our phones are not our friends. And even more so now, our phones are definitely not our friends because holy moly, now they're being inundated with garbage. iPhones, Android phones, anything. So why? How'd this happen? There, as far as I can tell, and again, I'm still reading into this, but it sounds like remember there was some thing happened with a dude and he had his phone and they wanted to get into it and the FBI kept telling Apple, hey, give us your encryption keys. And Apple's like, no. Like, well, hey, we need to get into this phone. It was like a terrorist act. Something happened. Everyone needed to get in this guy's phone. Get in the phone, get in the phone. And Apple said, no, we're not giving you a backdoor to our encryption. Because that's one of the things that holds Apple true. It makes it so that your phone is actually kind of a closed door system and that gives people security and privacy and da-da-da-da. So evidently that all kind of went by. They got into the phone, off it went. And then I guess now with a quiet, hush-hush type thing, there was some backdoor into the encryption put into the operating systems. And now it seems like that has been exploited. So it didn't exist before. We were forced to put it in based on government mandates or something like that because we need to get into citizen stuff and we need to watch all the citizens or whatever it was. And now that backdoor has now been exploited. And that's really frustrating. That's really frustrating because the idea of this phone and the encryption, the end-to-end encryption, was that it wasn't going to be exploited because it can't be because it's encrypted. But now someone gave those keys out and off it goes. So it's just, Again, I just it's just frustrating because the technology's there. It's there for a reason. It's working, and then we have to kind of mess with it. And then now everything is like this. So if you have an iPhone and you're sending text messages out, if you want those text messages to be private and not being read by the Chinese government for whatever reason that is, get another messaging app like Signal. Or there's another one on here that I talked about, or I can never remember the second one's name. Signal always jumps out at me, and there's another one. Tuta Mail. Never remember that one. They offer this critical layer of protection by ensuring that the messages and calls are protected with a quantum-safe end-to-end encryption and accessible only by the intended recipients. So if I had a company and I was doing cutting-edge stuff that I wanted to make sure that we were staying on cutting edge, but I was talking with employees about changes and updates and things that are going on in the company, but I don't want anyone else to get that information, we would have a Signal account. And that Signal account would be talking, and after it would be end-to-end encrypted, and after 2 weeks or a week or 3 weeks, the messages disappear. They get completely deleted from the system. So if you need that right now, I'm talking like everybody. But at the same time, I don't care about my messages. If the Chinese government wants to waste time looking at stuff about like my cat, cool. They can do it. That's fine. I don't care. But if you're like, I don't want anybody in my phone, you're like, got some bad news for you, buddy. But Signal will help kind of eliminate some of that. So these attackers were relentless, sophisticated, and they exploited any weakness that they could find, including backdoors to encryption and all that stuff. And so instead of increasing security, it just basically it could destroy the protections that we're relying on and stuff. So it just like I wish that we could like just have I don't know. I wish we had people that understood how this stuff works in the places that we need. Like in some place in Washington or whatever, don't hire the fancy guy in a suit that says he knows about tech, the CEO guy. CEO guy doesn't know nothing. We got to get that weird guy that's in the back corner that we let dress however you want. You know what I mean? The guy in the way back that just shows up whenever he does, but gets everything done and gets all the programming done. That's the guy that we need to go and put into Washington, because he's the one, or she is going to know how this stuff actually functions at the fundamental level. So when it comes about that we need to put end-to-end encryption on something and blah, 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 or put encryption or put an encryption key out there for everyone to have, like government officials and stuff. So I just wish there was a little bit of nuance out there when these type of things are out, because now it's here and there it is, and so we could have helped, but we don't care. We're just care about making more money on stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of scams because they're awful. So we're almost halfway through here on the Computer Man Show on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. We're going to go to break here in just a moment. I wanted to talk to everybody real quick before we go to break. There is a big thing with the Touch Bar Max right now. Dude, if you are looking at a MacBook and it has a touch bar, do not look at that MacBook. I have seen, we're almost getting one a day at this point that are failing, and they're failing catastrophically failing, like completely wiping their machines out. And the newer touch bar machines have their hard drives built into the logic board. So if you're not making a time machine backup, which if you have a Mac, I don't know what you're doing. Not to be mean, but every person who has a Mac right now, if you have a Mac, raise your hand. Do you have a Mac? Okay, you have a Mac? Okay, you have a Mac? Okay, you have a Mac? How many of you are using Time Machine? How many of you are using Time Machine? How many? Because if you're not, you are shooting yourself in the foot, the leg, and in the face. Because Time Machine is one of the best things that exists that Apple has not screwed up. You can simply plug a hard drive in and get an entire image of your entire computer. And then when your computer takes a dump, you can restore it to another one. It's amazing. And I'm going to let you in on this. It works. It actually works. If you have a MacBook and you bring it to me with a dead logic board and you do not have a Time Machine backup, I'm sorry, that is your fault. I'd be happy to help you set it up. I don't want to be mean. I'm not being mean. I just feel so bad. On a Windows PC, it's difficult. There's not a straightforward way to back up your machine. It's not clear. It's not concise. It's not straightforward. And if you do get it backed up, it's hard to restore. It's not straightforward at all. On a Mac, totally different story. Completely different story. And if you don't have a Time Machine backup, hit me up. I will help you make one. I will help you get one. You will be backed up. And who cares if something happens to your computer, because you'll have all your data. And that's most important. Okay, but most important, here at KSQD Santa Cruz and at ksqd.org are our underwriters and the amazing things that they do for us and the people that help us be KSQD. So we're going to talk to them real quick for just a couple minutes. We're going to take just a moment here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. We're going to get to those, and then we will be right back.
KSQD is proud to be a part of Santa Cruz Gives, a community funding site that channels money towards local nonprofits. Your donation helps sustain our operations and it qualifies us for additional funds. The more donations we collect, the more money we get from Santa Cruz Gives. Help us remain many voices, one station. Click on santacruzgives.org/KSQD. That's santacruzgives.org/KSQD.
Support for KSQD comes from Santa Cruz Gives, a holiday giving campaign for 63 local nonprofits. Learn more at santacruzgives.org. Donations online or by mail through December 31st. Presented by Good Times with support from the Volunteer Center, the Community Foundation of Santa Cruz County, and local sponsors. Thank you, Santa Cruz Gives, for supporting community radio. K-Squid.
My name is Luigi Oppido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of the Computer Man Show, a one-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on the Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, our jazz shows are literally some of the best I've ever heard. I'm a jazz musician myself. I play trumpet and trombone, and dude, the jazz that we have on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights is awesome. So coming up tonight, Be in the Night, 7 o'clock, all you got to do is let it happen, get all this computer stuff oozed out of your brains, and listen to some amazing jazz, everyone, from 7 to 10, coming up with Bobby B and Be in the Night. And of course, we have on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights, 7 to 10 as well, some jazz, amazing with Howard and a couple other people that host them. It's just great stuff. So stick around, just let it happen to you, 7 to 10. Nothing better to have dinner and everything, too, than just some sweet jazz. So, all right, we're back here at the Computer Man Show on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. If you have a question, comment, concern, thought, any of these things that have to do with your machine, you're just kind of like, give me a call, 831-900-5773, and I'll see what I can do. We were just talking about how the touch bar Macs fail. Actually had someone in the window show up a little thing. What's a touch bar? So touch bar on a Mac, one of the series actually had the screen. It was actually really cool. It's a screen that goes across the top, right above the top of the keyboard in that little space. And there's a very, very thin bar LCD screen. And it would show different things based on what you were seeing on your main screen. So if you had up, like you were texting somebody in a messaging forum, the touch bar would show like a bunch of emojis. Or if you start typing words, you're typing along and you type the word like salad or something, it would show a lettuce emoji and a pepper emoji, and you could like put things in it. Just one of the things, it would add like a secondary screen of stuff that you could add to whatever you're doing on your MacBook. And it was a cool idea. No other computers really have that. The Lenovo's had like this like watch looking screen back in the day, like in the early 2000s and stuff, but that never really caught on. So Apple's trying stuff. And the way that they wired it, the way that it worked, the way that the touch bar fails and it wipes out the motherboard, like completely takes the motherboard with it. So we have been seeing more and more and more of these touch bars, touch bar MacBooks failing as they come into our shop. And usually, I mean, it's almost to the point where I'm turning people away for diagnosis fees because I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything with them. If they come in and like, hey, I've got a touch bar Mac, it's not working. I'm like, okay. Do you want your motherboard replaced for like $900? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want it either. So there's not much I can do. Do you have a time machine backup? No. It's like, well, then that's your fault. No, I'm just kidding. Get a time machine backup. And again, if you don't have one, if you have a Mac, ask yourself, do I have a time machine backup? And if you don't, or if you don't know what that is, please email me, luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com. Let's get you a time machine backup, and let's make sure you have a backup of your data. Because if your machine goes in the drink, if you have a new machine, all these motherboards have the memory built into the motherboard. That is the way that Apple has decided to screw you, the consumer, when something goes wrong. So keep your head. Let's get that time machine backup, and then you will be in control again and not them. And that's like off the cloud. Besides buying the drive, it's free. And you can do it every hour for a day, every day for a week, every week for a month. It's a great system. It works really well, really well. Okay, let's get into, actually I want to get through I've got a number of emails that we're still getting through here, which is great. Let's see. So we talked about the hack. We talked about the license plate readers. We talked about Daisy. I still have that list of popular software as of December 2025 or 2024, excuse me. If you are curious about getting that list, I've emailed it to a couple people. Hit me up, Luigi, Luigi, @pleasurepointcomputers.com or luigi@ksqd.org, and I'll send you over a copy. It's actually a pretty cool list. It's got, for internet security, productivity, audio, video, images and photos, utilities, miscellaneous. Some of them are open source. Some of them are a proprietary free premium thing, and some of them are freemiums where you have a couple paid versions inside there to do a couple things, but for the most part you can use them for free. So it's a cool list, and I'm happy to send it out to anyone out there. Also, just another PSA real quick before we get to emails. YouTube Premium costs are going up again. If you would like to not deal with that, download the Brave browser, and with the Brave browser, it lets you block YouTube ads for free. Pretty cool. The mobile browser also lets you listen to YouTube videos while you swap to a different app or your screen is locked. That's one of the biggest things with YouTube. They purely put a piece of programming code in there that turns off the video if you lock your screen, unless you're on another browser. So if you do that, you can listen to YouTube while not paying for the premium service for it, but also getting everything you want with that and through another browser. That's free. Woohoo! Pretty cool. So again, that's the Brave browser. It has a little lion. That's very nice. But little lion, that's a good one. Okay. And Apple faces this. Okay, let's get into it and let's find my email questions. Let's do it. All right. Oh, last thing before email questions. Actually, I keep forgetting about this. I forgot about it last week. I wanted to talk and really start hitting people up with net neutrality. Net neutrality is again being threatened, okay? This is bad because we all want net neutrality. The best way that I can describe, or the way you can describe net neutrality to somebody else, is your internet connection turns into cable. And what do I mean by that? When you get cable, can you plug your television set into the wall and get 500 channels? No. But right now you can plug your computer into the wall and get 500 different things to look at, right? And you don't have to pay some premium cost or some thing. You can up your speed. You can get a little bit quicker. But you can't buy something that gets you into an area of the internet without, that's not a subscription or something like that, that you would then, you just can't do that. You can't go to Comcast and say, hey, I want to buy this and so I can get to these access. You have access to everything that's online. Net neutrality, by definition, is it's the principle that access to all websites and web services are equal. Okay, and that anyone can start their own website or web service and make it accessible to anyone, and anyone with internet access can get to it just like any other website or service, right? Net neutrality, if we lose that, loses that. And what I mean by that is it turns into cable, back to my original statement. Cable then has packages. You want to jump on the internet and look at the news? Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't pay for the news package. That's an extra $14.99 a month. Oh, I'm sorry, you want to look at sports? Oh, sports is like $30 a month. Oh, but you want to look at a specific sport? Well, it's $30 to get access to the sports package, and then it's another $5.99 per team, per sport, where you want to look at. That's what could happen. Or let's say that you are an organization, a big company or whatever, and you publicly went out there and said that Comcast did something to you or something, or Comcast is a bad company. Comcast, who might feed your internet, might literally slow down traffic to your website. Right? Like, that's what net neutrality is. It is the idea that the speeds aren't throttled based on your service. They're not throttled based on your company, your organization. I theoretically can get to Google just as fast as I can get to DuckDuckGo, as fast as I can get to some of these others. Now, granted, the data might come out a little bit slower because of servers or whatever, or because of load dependency, that's fine. But the idea that access is the same, that's what could go away. So, battleforthenet.com, I believe it's, battleforthenet.com. Check it out. You can write your, here in California, we're pretty solid, but who knows what's going on in the future, man. So just educate yourself. I'm going to keep on it with everyone here on the show. And there was like a recent Supreme Court decision that overturned what commonly was known as the Chevron difference, and that decision means that courts can now be free to interpret the law however they wish instead of deferring to expert independent agencies like the FCC. So again, it's something that, like net neutrality, something that is very intricate that takes maybe a tech person to break it down, now can just be thrown away with the baby with the bathwater type stuff, because they can interpret the law in another way, and someone has filled their pockets with some type of lobbying money to make it so that, let's do these paid services. That way all the internet companies make more money, people online are doing less, and it's just bad. It's just bad. So battleforthenet.com. Check it out if you're just curious what it is. Net neutrality is incredibly important, and we all will feel it. We all will. So let's make sure it doesn't go away. It was really close to completely going away about 4 years ago. And I have a feeling that it's probably going to go that way too, because it's just going to line more people's pockets with money. And I don't know if you've listened to the show before, but I don't really like money. So, all right. All right, let's get into email questions. Boop, 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 boop. All right, we've got about 15 minutes left. If you got a question, comment, concern, we'd love to hear from you. 831-900-5773. Those phone lines are still open, but we're going to get into some emails and see what's going on out there. All right, a random blue screen of death while turning the computer off. Okay, interesting. I pressed the power button on my PC to turn it off, but got greeted by the blue screen of death instead. Nothing seems to be wrong or corrupted. I'm just concerned why this happened and whether or not it could be an issue with the computer's hardware. Okay, a blue screen of death is usually what's called an IRQ fault. Most times. It could be memory allocation table stuff, but mostly it's called an IRQ fault. What in the heck is an IRQ fault? Okay, let's go out to the Bay Area. We're out in San Francisco, way out somewhere in San Francisco on a big freeway, right? We're in the East Bay or whatever, and we've got a 16-lane freeway, all heading the same place, okay? 16 lanes. And you are driving along, and all the cars are moving along, and traffic is going along just fine. So let's say a car, somewhat like a giant hand comes down from the sky with a car in it and puts a car in a lane right at the same time as another car is going through at that same lane. And there's a big, huge accident. And so the freeway stops. That is what an IRQ fault is, and what a blue screen error actually is. A piece of code has gotten in line and gotten into the pathway of all the other things that are flowing down the freeway, and got in and stepped in on a place where something else was at exactly the same time. Now everything's filtered. Everything's kind of like, put in line so that kind of like the lights, the metering lights, if they were to like really, really work and we'd never have traffic, it would just let everyone just kind of slide right in. The metering lights, that's for whatever reason, didn't work on that one thing, and the packet came in and went in and put itself exactly in the same place. Two cars in exactly the same lane at the same time. And that makes the entire system stop and gets it to a blue screen. Why did this happen when the machine was turned off? I bet there was something holding on, some processor was holding on. When the system is shutting down, it's turning off all these different processes in a pretty specific order. And if something is holding on to something that needs to be shut off later on and it's still holding on, the thing that's trying to shut down can't shut down because the thing before is still holding on to it, right? It's like closing a door while, holding someone's hand through the door. Your arm's going to get crushed and the door's not going to close. But if you let go of their hand, then the door will close and you're now in two separate rooms, right? So, terrible analogies. But the blue screen of death, when you turn the machine off, is most likely a piece of software that is not letting go. And then there's some force quit or something that's being pushed by something else, or something else is trying to go into that line thinking that the program has already been shut down when it's not, and we get a crash. Now, granted, you're saying the machine restarts, no problem. I would see what you have as your startup items and possibly turn them all off, restart the computer, and see if that still causes a blue screen. If the blue screen goes away, then I would actually start turning those items on one by one again until you find the item that actually caused the blue screen. And then we know, that software is still hanging on, and either get it fixed or remove it, or maybe not have it running in the background, something like that. That would cause that shutdown. But again, this is more of a kind of an annoyance rather than something that's really bad or wrong. And I think, I think it's just more of an annoyance. So, but we could find it that way. So, startup items and most likely a piece of software that's just holding on. Okay, Ethernet connection drops for a second or so, only on a PC. Only on the PC. Okay, so I have my PC connected through Ethernet only to the router directly. Okay, no Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi disabled. Okay. At random intervals, it can be hours or so, the Ethernet icon will change to no connection, and I'll lose internet access for about a second, and then it'll reconnect again. My phone is on, and then Wi-Fi never has an issue. Connection is stable throughout the day. Is it a router issue, or is there a setting I can change and fix? Okay, so if it's on like that and it blips for just a second, it's most likely software. I don't think I would go software before I would go hardware, and it's most likely in your network card, I would think. So I would think it's most likely that it's the Ethernet port, something with the driver dropping and then coming back real quick. I would see about updating your drivers, or at least looking to see how old your drivers are for your network card and see if they have an update. Or if they were just recently updated, if it's something new that just happened. I would, if that, but maybe even before you do that, because that could really kind of mess with other things. Have you tried a different Ethernet port on the router? I would do that as well. For a scientific method, one thing at a time. So easiest thing first, if you can, unplug the port on the router, plug it into another one. Use the machine for the next couple of days. Boop, oh, there's the dropped again for the, okay, so it's not the port on the router, move it back to the original one. At that point, then we would then start going and changing the cable. Change it, just give it a shot. See if the cable makes, oh, nope, there, dropped again. Cable is exactly the same thing. Okay, so as soon as we figure out that both those things are the same, I would then, at that point, go and start looking at the drivers in the machine. Could be some type of power saving setting, but then you can go into the device manager and then just go under, find your Ethernet adapter in the list, and then you can actually double click on it and see if there's any power saving features. The fact that it's dropping so quickly leads me to think that it's probably not that. And I also don't know if you're away from the machine or if you're using the machine. It sounds like you're using the machine because you watch it drop. So I would think it's probably not power saving, because if you're dormant, then it would go off. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to probably drivers. But kind of curious. Hit me back up and I will let everyone know if you let me know. Okay. Laptop battery. Okay, the battery in my Dell laptop is dead. It's a 40 watt hour, 11.25 volt. 40 watt hours is kind of pretty much standard now. Said there's a battery available for the same price. It's a 53 watt hour, and the battery is an extra capacity. The extra capacity would always be appreciated, and it's made for the same laptop. So the listing for both batteries at the same laptop model number is listed, and the screw holes are exactly the same inside my laptop. But the voltage difference raised my eyebrows. Would it work or would it not work? If a battery has been designed for that battery slot, and the first thing basically the battery's going to do is going to do that DC to DC conversion, right? Where it drops down the voltage down to what the board needs, right? 5 volts and below. There used to be a 12 volt bus, a 5 volt bus, and a 3 volt bus. Now I think it's just a 5 volt and a 3 volt bus. There might be a 1.5 volt bus as well, but we have, a battery that has, what is this battery again? 15 volt or 53 watt hour, 15 volt, and a 40 watt hour, 11.25 volts. So those voltages are going to be dropped back down. So that's the first thing that kind of happens. Anything on the higher voltage batteries are going to result in a more efficient operation, because it's going to be using literally less power to do that. And less power is wasted due to the resistive losses. So if you have a lower voltage, it's going to use up a little bit more of the battery because it's got kind of less to give, so it's pulling more. If you have a bigger battery, it's going to be easier to do those conversions, and it's actually going to be a little bit more efficient, if that makes any sense. So, basically, in a nutshell, yes, you can put that battery in. It's actually going to be a little bit better battery as long as it fits and the battery connector is the same and it plugs in. Yeah, the designers have done that so that they might be able to sell a little bit higher quality battery, a higher size battery for a little bit extra price, get a little bit more money. But at the same time, also, the manufacturers aren't going to make a battery that doesn't fit in that machine have a plug that would short the machine out too. So they're going to make sure that the plugs are the same and everything's kind of on the same page with that. So but that's a great question. So that is probably the update that was offered when your machine was new. Put it in yourself and save yourself. I mean, it's only going to be a couple extra bucks. That's awesome. So do it. Yeah, it should work. Okay, the next question is, my unmountable boot volume error fixable? So unmountable boot volume is the error, and is it fixable? I had a hard reset on my Windows 10 PC yesterday, and it blue screened. Oh, I hard reset my Windows. Okay, I hard reset my Windows 10 PC yesterday. It blue screened. When I came back on, I was unable to auto repair itself. Eesh. I downloaded a copy of Windows 10 onto a flash drive, booted to it, and booted to it. I used the Windows repair tool, didn't do anything. I used disk partition and command line, and I discovered that my solid state drive has 3 partitions. Okay, so there was a raw drive with 230 gigs, a raw drive with 1 gigabyte, and another raw that has another gigabyte that's healthy but also hidden. All the file systems are showing raw instead of a file system. That's problematic, and yes, it is. So I started looking for solutions to fix the master boot record. I downloaded a partition assistant that advertised itself as being able to fix file systems and partitions without formatting them. Partition assistant immediately upon being tasked to rebuild the master boot record. It did it with zero effect. It saw the solid state drive, but showed it as 0 kilobytes, and it most likely would. If you look in the computer management for a raw drive, it doesn't know. A raw drive is kind of. It's a stupid analogy. Let me say. I always think of dumb analogies. Immediately I thought of like meat, where it's raw meat. You're like, well, I got to do something with it. It's got to be processed. It has to be cooked. It has to be cut. It has to be done with something. It's not, you can't just put your face on it and start moving your mouth up and down and consume, right? You have to, there's something has to be done. And that's the same thing with a raw data drive. It clearly has something in it, but the computer doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know it's FAT32, FAT16, NTFS, journaled, whatever. It doesn't know. So it drops it to basically like a standard called raw. It says there's this much data on the drive. And the drive's this big, and it'll just show you a big gray bar that fills the entire thing up. Okay, there it is. It's raw. So then it is then your job, or the software's job, then to go through that drive's data and see if you can figure out what the partition table actually is. And that's theoretically what this partition program was supposed to do, but didn't. So yeah. Okay, so this person's still wondering if it's still possible to fix the system and the master boot record without formatting it or replacing the solid-state drive. If not, will my computer be fine formatting the solid-state drive and doing a fresh install of Windows, or should I just replace the solid-state drive entirely? It's a 4-year-old laptop. Okay, so after reading that, I was like, oh, the drive's not broken. It's not broken. Nothing's broken. Just the another analogy I used to use, the Rosetta Stone, right? And I believe I got reprimanded by a historian. I think it was Greek on the Rosetta Stone. I can't quite remember. I'm sorry, but the Rosetta Stone had writings on it, right? It had like Greek. And it was like Latin, Greek, and hieroglyphics. And the idea of it was the translation matrix, right? You could walk into a pyramid that had hieroglyphics, theoretically, with this stone, and be able to turn it into Latin, or turn it into a text that you could read, that we knew how to read. And that was what it was, Rosetta Stone, right? But if you didn't have that, you could walk into the pyramids, see all this writing on the wall, and go, I know there's a lot of data here, but I can't read it. And that's what's going on with this drive. There's something called the master boot record, which is like the Rosetta Stone. It's that little map at the very beginning. That map tells the computer, hey, data is here, and this is what it is. This is how it is. This is where it is. This is where it's going. This is the places that it is. And you can then go out and find it based on the tree that I'm building you here with this master boot record. But with the raw drive, the master boot record is gone. It's been completely removed. So the computer doesn't know what it is. It goes to a raw format. You walk into the drive and you see, well, I see a bunch of data, but it doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't mean anything to me because I have no map. I have no way of looking at it. So if you have files on that solid state drive that you need, you've got some work to do. We can most likely in a raw state put it into a scanner, scan the drive with a number of different pieces of software, and see if we can pull the data out of it. It might not be in the file structure that you want, the documents, pictures, videos, all that kind of stuff with folder structure. It may just be a whole bunch of photos and a whole bunch of documents. That could be depending on the damage. Or you could get file structure back depending on the program and how well it rebuilt. That could be. But if you don't have anything on there, who cares? Reformat it and just put new Windows on there. I would also run like a Crystal Disk Info, or something that would look at the smart status of the hard drive and make sure that it's still viable. But if it's a solid state drive from a name brand that's been around, that you've had for maybe less than 2 or 3 or 4 years, it should still be a viable drive. It should still be a good drive. It should still work. So, but I would try. I mean, just if you don't need the files on it, who cares? Throw a flash drive in there. You get a free flash drive, get the Windows Media Creation tool, plug it in the computer, load up Windows, and see if it eats itself. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do any extra damage. The solid state drive is either going to work or not, and it's not going to do anything else to the rest of your system. It'll either install the Windows and work, or it won't. And then if it doesn't, you can get a new drive. If it does, use it and just kind of watch it. Maybe do things externally for a little bit, have things on external drives and stuff until you trust it. And then if it just comes back, just know that was probably just an operating system error, which happens all the time based on power or updates or some program holding on, and then move on. Yeah, but the partitions, when they go to raw like that, you usually can get them back, and a lot of times you can rebuild them, but using a program to actually rebuild that master boot record just right on the drive without formatting and stuff, I personally have not been too successful with that. So, and by not too successful, been like basically not successful with that. I pull the data off, get the data into a readable format off the site, reformat the drive, put a clean operating system on it, and then put the data back onto it. But if you've got a lot of stuff going on, you might not be able to do that. So, okay, let's see. We've got a couple minutes left here in the Computer Man Show on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Let's see if we have a short one we can talk about real quick. Let's see. Okay. So we'll just do this one real quick. Why do all browsers in Windows 11 bother me with the quote, I'm not the standard browser, can you make me? Or I'm not the default browser, can you make me? I usually use Linux Mint on my private computers and Windows 10 with a very fixed setup at work. There's one laptop left, which isn't converted, running Windows 11. My approach to the internet is that keeping the nastiest destinations in each of their own browser. Like Facebook, which is banished to one browser exclusively. I actually love that. That's great. But every time I open a browser in Windows 11, I get this little window below the URL destination bar that asks me why this particular browser isn't standard, and why isn't their default? That's what this is. Is that necessary? Can't I just shut it off once and for all and not ask it again? It's in there, so I asked the person, I'm like, they're like, I just use this computer very rarely. So that's all it is. So I can tell it, this is my default browser. Every other browser is going to be like, hey, do you want this to be your default browser? Hey, do you want this to be your default browser? And I think there's a registry key you can enter to make that go away. I don't know that off personally. I can look it up and maybe we can get that to you. But also, if you do set a default browser and then you do an update, sometimes it sets back to Edge. So you got to do it anyways. So it's one of those things you're going to mess with, maybe fix, maybe set up the registry to be the correct way, and then you get an update and everything undoes itself. And isn't that fun? Because that's Windows. And speaking of Windows and speaking of all this amazing stuff, we again have reached the end of another Computer Man Show. And I am stoked to be here with you as always. Stoked to have you here, and just looking forward to next time. Yeah, so if I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember to tune into the Computer Man Show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Howard Feldstein, Rachel David, David Kibrick, John Sandage, all of Santa Cruz, Lick Tesla, the Waz, Mr. Gacy, Mr. Torvalds, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I am your Computer Man here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now. Thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man is very wise. He speaks the truth, he never lies. So if there's something you don't understand, just ask the computer man.
Hi, Mr. Computer Man. My name is Jenny. I have a question for you.
Wait, Jenny does not compute. What is your number, please?
Number? I don't have a number. I'm a person.
A person? A person?